What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Once again, my name is Steven Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. If this is the first time that you've had the opportunity to watch my sports channel, I'd just like to say welcome. If you could do me a huge favor, guys, if you're really into sports content and the Philadelphia Eagles and having someone really break down film, to back up their opinions with film. I think you're going to really love this channel. If y'all can do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, guys. It does a whole lot to support the channel. And all my old school guys, y'all been here for a while. Y'all been watching it. Boys and girls, I appreciate y'all. You know, I love y'all to death. Y'all can hit that like button. That's the way that we communicate with YouTube to let YouTube know, hey, this dude, he's getting a lot of interaction from his subscribers. So, hey, let's push this out to other people on the platform. So, everyone joining us today, hope everyone had a great Christmas. Hope you were able to spend some time with your family and some loved ones, maybe got a chance to catch up with a couple of friends you haven't seen in a while. Hopefully you guys had a nice relaxing kind of, couple of days here. All right, y'all. On the last live stream that I had, which was Christmas Eve, I got kind of faced with a lot of questions that I wasn't anticipating when it came to basically who is Deontay Burnett? Like, what does the film say to you guys? What does it show you? I mean, some of you guys were even asking me about Craven or whatever the hell his name is, something like that. The kid that we signed out of the Denver Broncos practice squad. I'm not going to focus on him today. This is just solely on Deontay Burnett. And look, I watched him from the preseason. I got a feel for the kid, and I'm going to tell you kind of what the film says about this kid, like who he is, and what we kind of know about him. All right. So today's topic, look, we're going to talk about this Eagles wide receiver core in general. We're going to talk about Deontay Burnett, where this kid fits, and how this receiving core is going to go forward. Hopefully, making a run into the playoffs because we got to win this one in order to secure our fate without needing any other outside assistance. So let's get to today's topic, guys. We're talking about Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver core, and we are going to talk about Deontay Burnett. All right, y'all, let's get to it.
Beautiful play, throw and catch.
All right, guys. So the number one thing I can tell you about Deontay Burnett is this. If you're thinking about trying to see the measurements of this kid at the NFL Combine, don't waste your time. It will not be an accurate reflection of who the kid is, and we really don't know what his true measurements and testings would be because the kid suffered through a torn hamstring both at the Combine and later on he was still really messed up when it came to his pro day. He suffered these minor little injuries throughout the entire, kind of 2017, 2018 college football season. Heading into the 2018 draft, he was definitely banged up. And look, his measurables and his testings weren't good. The kid had like a 30.5-inch vertical jump, which was about what they consider to be the fifth percentile, so it's not very good. And then he also ran a 4.7 40, which is obviously very slow for a wide receiver, very slow for basically any skill position player. Those are not accurate reflections of the kid's actual abilities. He's much better than that. Obviously, the kid's a lot faster than a 4.7. However, he suffered these injuries, and I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of NFL scouts who looked at this kid's tape, who looked at this kid's, measurements, what he measured at his pro day, little he could do at the combine, and basically they came away with a really twisted and messed up perspective. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw that up on the screen for you guys to see exactly what they thought about this kid. So what did the Jets see in this kid? Where did he fit in their roster? And this is what I'll tell you. When you put him in football games, so the clip I showed you guys from earlier when I first got done with my little introduction spill was from the end of last season, right around this time. It was right around the 29th, 30th of December. It was a game against the New England Patriots. Like, he kind of went off on them. Like, he had a pretty damn productive day there. Now, this is what I'll say. The kid had been placed in a really difficult situation to make the Jets roster because the Jets they had a lot of young developing guys that he would have had to fight for playing time, along with some mid-tier veterans. Like, they're not older guys, but they've been in the league for a little while. And he was fighting between like what his potential could be compared to how much development he has compared to the other guys around the roster. Like, he was in a really rough situation there with the Jets, guys. One thing that you can say about him is he had rapport with Sam Darnold. When I looked at the film from the 2019 preseason, earlier this year in the preseason, I looked at the first 2 games in particular, and like, there was some production there. The kid was getting open. I mean, he played with Simeon and he played with Falk, and he looked okay. He looked okay there. He falls in this weird place between shorter slot receivers and more skinny, faster, weird X and Z kind of receiver, body builds, and he could never really define himself there. So to begin with, who was he fighting in terms of like the shorter slot receiver type guys? Well, he was fighting Braxton Berrios and he was fighting Jamison Crowder.
They do it professionally. 3rd and 4. Darnold lofts it and
He was fighting a lot of ACC guys. So you got Braxton Berrios, the former Miami Hurricane. You got Jamison Crowder, the former Duke Blue Devil, the guy who played for a pretty good amount of time with the Washington Redskins. Look, Jamison Crowder is a very good slot receiver. Very unlikely he was going to beat him out as long as the Jets kind of envisioned Crowder for a period of time on this roster, right? Braxton Berrios is a hard guy to beat out as well. University of Miami. He's a guy that's got a little shift, a little speed to him. He's a good football player. It's the right Berrios brothers. So there's 2 Berrios brothers guys that gets a little confusing. One played for Miami, one played for Carolina. They both played at ACC. I think this was the one that played at Miami, though. And then there's also Greg Dortch, the former Wake Forest wide receiver.
the wide receiver screen. This
Greg Dortch is another short, shifty slot kind of guy. The Jets were fairly high on him. He ended up going and playing with the Carolina Panthers a little while. They put him on an active roster a couple times. Eventually, he got waived and he got claimed by the Rams. And now he's pretty much with the Los Angeles Rams on their practice squad. So he had this weird place of trying to fit in these small, shifty slot receivers between Greg Dortch, Braxton Berrios, and Jamison Crowder. It was a very crowded area to fit in there. And then if you go to the more prototypical, like taller, think of like Nelson Aguilar, guys that can play the slot and the X, right? Those type of bodies. He got to fight there too, because he's fighting guys like Josh Bellamy.
Simeon will throw. No pressure. Lobs it.
Deontay Thompson.
Simeon.
Right? He's fighting these type of guys where you could probably even put Vincent Smith in there. Like, he's fighting those type of guys to get on the roster. And you got to look. I mean, right now, the New York Jets are carrying Robbie Anderson, Braxton Berrios, Jamison Crowder, Josh Malone, Vincent Smith, and Demaryius Thomas all on their roster. And by the way, they got 2 guys on IR in Josh Bellamy and Quincy Enunwa, who's also like, the Jets just have a really crowded wide receiver room. And I don't think that I honestly don't think the kid did anything wrong here. I thought that he did pretty well. I thought, given his opportunities, he did really well with the Jets. It's just, it was crowded. It was really crowded. It was a difficult place to make it. And to be honest with you, I don't know whether we should be confident projecting this kid to stick around the Eagles organization. He may be a practice squad guy, but I think he's really looking to get some stuff on film again, get more on film. He's kind of this lower end tier guy to where some teams might take a shot on him. So I think he just wants to show himself. I think he wants to prove himself as being an NFL bottom level wide receiver, a guy that can be your 3rd, 4th, or 5th option. So let's get into a little more specifics of what we see in his particular game.
It's going to show up and pay big dividends for the Falcons.
As the little film there showed, Deontay Burnett has very good short burst explosion. He can gain separation. He's a pretty polished route runner, especially in those short to intermediate routes. He's very polished in those routes. That was just a basic slant route. He got the inside leverage like he's supposed to. From the film, I didn't see him do anything special. He didn't sell anyone with a fake. He just noticed that, look, his defender was playing off of him. He was able to get up and into him quickly, and he gained a lot of separation there. And to be honest with you, if he had a little more playthrough contact, probably could have put that in the end zone. And that's kind of what I want to get to, which is I'll give you a positive, and I'm going to give you probably one of the negatives of his game. Positive, polished route runner. He's very good on the short to intermediate routes. But let's get to a negative, which has a lot to do with playing through contact.
And from the 34 now for Webb. To the sideline, that pass.
That is a simple, prototypical, just out route. It's a 1st and 10. They're looking to gain, 4 to 6 yards, maybe bigger if you can break a tackle there. But One of the knocks that I see on him on film is he's a short build and stature guy. Not short in height. He's about 5'11", 6-footish. But they list him about 180 pounds. In reality, the Jets said he's about 170 pounds. And the kid does not do very well through contact. That's going to be the knock on his game, that you can separate the ball from his body by a big hit. And that's a little concerning because I thought what you saw there was proper utilization of this kid, which he's a very good, quick timing offense type player. I mean, I think the Eagles scouting department did a good job of what our offense is now, to go out there and identify a guy of who kind of fits this, who has talent that is highly underrated, who would fit very well in a quick timing offense, and kind of helps us build this maybe dual slot. You got guys like Ertz, you got guys like Goddard, you got guys like, Greg Ward Jr., who complements this, especially if you're not going to use Nelson Aguilar. This kid's a good fit there, but he's got to learn how to play through contact. This is not a good look on him, this contact issue. Now I'll show you another kind of example of where, okay, he's got to develop here a little better, and that's a little more recognition of the field, the placement of where you are, first down marker, not going backwards when you need to go forward because it can knock you off of maybe a 4th and short attempt, or, worst case scenario can cause you to go a 3 and out because you just weren't in positioning. Now, luckily, this isn't a 3 and out type scenario because they're still going to put points on the board given the field position they were in, but this is something you'd like to see a better understanding of where you are in relation to the field and how deep to take your route.
Simeon throws it underneath, but
From watching the video of this young man, all the Jets quarterbacks, from Simeon to Falk to, going all the way up the ladder there, like like Sam Darnold, they really enjoyed dropping the ball off short to this kid and giving him a chance to separate with his, kind of burst and explosion that he has. He's not always good at that. Like I said, he doesn't always play very well through contact, but he's certainly that type of player, and they like that. But this is a particular instance, what I just showed you, to where, man, you just got to be a yard deeper, and you can't go backwards. The last thing you want to do is cause yourself to lose yardage there. You want to keep it to where at least you can make your head coach consider a quarterback sneak, or you're down around the goal line. Like, you don't want to do that. You got to get deeper in that set. You got to go pick that first down up, and if you mess it up, you damn sure don't want to try to go back in your route to try to go forward again, because now you're making yourself even further distance from that line. So he's got some growing, to do there, but he's not completely bad around the goal line, guys. He's not, like, he's a viable option. He's not a power guy. He's not a go high point the ball guy. He's an inside guy that he plays pretty well there. Like, he put the ball in the end zone against Atlanta there, and on a similar play from about the 10-yard line, he just 8-10 yard line, something around that area, guys. He's pretty good at those short and intermediate routes, and I'll show you a glimpse of that.
That we've had since we started here was great customer.
Look, I mean, from the film, what I see on film, and look, I didn't know that much about this kid, is that, number one, he was a very, very similar body and receiver to Deontay Thompson. Deontay Thompson's a little better built. He's got a little longer history in productivity within the league. Not that he's ever been that great, but they're very similar type players, Deontay Thompson and Deontay Burnett. But he's good. He's going to be a very, very good receiver in those quick timing offenses. I think he's going to help Carson Wentz in that area. He's going to give him another target in the quick timing offense. Right now, you got a guy like, if you put it out there, you have a guy like Rob Davis who can really stretch you vertically. He's a much better vertical threat there. Then you get a guy like Greg Ward Jr., who's very reliable. He's very good at the short intermediate routes. Listen, guys, I'm cautioning you. Greg Ward Jr. is a lot better, a lot more polished than this kid is. But this kid is a pretty good route runner. He's damn good at those short and intermediate routes, and he's going to help the quick timing. I mean, I think between Perkins, between Goddard, between Ertz, between Greg Ward Jr., and between now Deontay Burnett, we're going to be able to work the middle of the field pretty well. Like, these guys are going to really good on the quick outs, those slant routes, those those short to intermediate routes, the drags, those long drag plays, stuff like that. Like, he's going to help there, and he can get, like I said, he can get to the intermediate level. But I would expect to see more Greg Ward Jr. on the intermediate level. You'll see Deontay Burnett sometimes on the intermediate level, but probably more on the short level along with Perkins. And then you'll see a guy like Rob Davis stretching you vertically. You'll see J.J. Nelson getting downfield into the intermediate to deeper routes. And then you'll see the intermediate to deep routes there with Ertz and Goddard. That's what I would suspect this Eagles offense is going to be. Then you'll mix it in with Boston Scott. You'll mix it in with a little bit of Jordan Howard now. Since Jordan Howard's back, he's going to bring a physicality to the offense. And then, of course, you got your home run hitter and Miles Sanders. That's pretty much what I think this Eagles offense will be down the stretch of this game into what may or may not happen when we get into the playoffs. Rob Davis on the deep stretch. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside on the intermediate to long, right? Greg Ward Jr. around the intermediate level as a wide receiver, short and intermediate, more so towards intermediate. Perkins, and then, of course, you get a guy like outside of Perkins, you're going to get a guy like Deontay Burnett, who's going to be on those short plays, those short routes. You're going to get, of course, the explosion out of Miles Sanders, Boston Scott. I mean, it's what the offense is going to be. I don't know what Rodgers' Richard Rodgers' role will be here with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, that's yet to be defined. He was a very highly sought third tight end by the Eagles. We've been trying to incorporate him now for 2 years into our offense, so we'll just have to see where that goes, guys. But that's pretty much what this offense is going to look like right now. The obvious elephant in the room here is that the Eagles brought in a guy who was outside the organization, a guy that apparently they trust Joe Douglas's eye on, and they brought him into the organization and they leapfrogged players like Markin McKell and Green and Marcus Green from the practice squad. He leapfrogged them right onto the active roster. There's clearly some element of trust and faith in what they're seeing, and then the development of this kid compared to what they see from Marcus Green, who's way more of a speedster, and what they see from Markin McKell, who's way more familiar with the system. So that's what this what's going on, right or wrong, guys. That's how the things have played out right now. All right, y'all. That's all I got for y'all today. If you guys have not been subscribed to the channel, if I can ask you a big favor to subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel, guys, leave me a like. And y'all know what time it is. It's time that we end this channel. We do a little something like EAGLES. Eagles. All right, y'all. Look, big game Sunday, man. Win is all I can say. We just need to win. We don't need to focus about anyone else providing us assistance or help. Just beat the Giants and earn your way into the playoffs. And then we can talk about whoever we face later. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out here, man. I appreciate y'all watching.